needs a goal. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And if you're new here, welcome. And please consider subscribing to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I hope that everyone had a wonderful holiday. I am assuming everybody's getting ready for 2021 and we are going to put this year behind us. I know I'm ready to. But today I just wanted to share with you an idea that I had on how to organize my Christmas photo cards that I receive every year. I have been collecting them for years. I send one out every year with my kid's picture on it. And when I receive them, I enjoy looking at how kids have grown or families have grown over the last couple of years. And I just cannot bring myself to throw those away or recycle them. So I had just been putting them in a drawer because I just didn't want to toss them out. Last year, I decided that I was going to start going through them and separating them because this here is part of the pile that I have. So what I did was I just started going through and writing on a Ziploc bag the year and putting the cards in for that year. So I've done from 2019 back to 2014, and I still have plenty more to do, as you can see. But at least I got started, and I thought this was the answer. And as I was taking down my Christmas cards for this year, and I do also, by the way, save, like if I get a New Year's card for like, instead of, a lot of friends do New Year's cards instead of Christmas cards. What I usually do is put that New Year's card that I receive like for 2021 will be with my 2020. Does that make sense? Like if I get a card in the next week or two from friends that didn't send a Christmas card, that will go in my 2020 pile. So I hope that makes sense to you. But anyway, I just was looking at them thinking, I would love to be able to figure out how I can go through and look back on them. I thought about putting them in a binder, but I thought that would be a little bit complicated. So I kind of just put it to a side again and just was like, well, the other day I was in the garage looking for a tool, and I came across a bag of these hooks that I had hanging up on the tool rack that I didn't know what to do with. And it's these little hooks here. I don't know what you call them. Light bulb? They look like a light bulb to me. Light bulb hooks. And I thought, you know what? I can take the cards, punch a little hole in it, and hook this through it. Ideally though, I did have a couple of these O-ring ones. I think these may work better. I'm not sure because I obviously haven't tried this yet, but these just, and I honestly don't even know where these came from. I had a huge bag of them. I'm sure I used them at a birthday party or some kind of event at one time, and I don't remember. But anyway, my mind started going, I could punch a hole in the cards, put that through there, and I could just keep them, and it would be so cool. So I thought, let me go on Pinterest and see if I can find any ideas that I like. Well, there was one website that I saw where they didn't put it in the corner of the card. They ended up punch it in the middle, and then they created a cover and put it on the front. And then they just put it out in a basket each year with all the pictures, and I thought that was such a great idea. So I'm thinking I can do that with my cards, and then every Christmas put the basket out with all the cards in there, so when friends and family come to visit, they can go through the basket and look at the pictures and reminisce. So I really, really thought that was a great idea. So what I did was I just went into PowerPoint on my computer, and I did a layout that's 8.5 by 11, and I went ahead and created this little sign. It says, it's a little wreath. It says 2019 and says holiday photo cards. I created two on that sheet. I did one for 2018 and one for 2019. And then I just printed it out, cut it in half. Now I have a little laminating machine. I've had this for years. So I'm going to actually laminate these so that way they are a little bit more sturdy, and because I printed it on my home printer, if it gets wet or something, it won't smear. So I'm going to laminate those, and then I'm going to show you how I figured out how to hole punch my cards, because I have one, but I have no idea where it's at. I have the long hole puncher, and if I had that, this would have made it a lot easier, but I can't find it. I think my son took it and used it, and I don't know where he put it. But I'm going to show you how I ended up doing it, just using my little handheld one hole puncher. So let me turn the camera down and we'll go through and I'll show you what I did. Okay, my friends, so the first thing that I did is I took out my cards, and I'm going to try to do this without showing all the pictures of friends and family on here. So I'm going to use my card as an example. So the first thing that I did was I separated my cards by size. So went ahead and separated them all. Like these cards here are all the same size, as you can see. So I put those in a pile off to the side, and then, like I said, I just went ahead and separated the piles, and I turned them, and this, I guess, is also a personal preference. I turned them to the side, so the top of it would be on my left, so that's where I'm going to punch my holes in, so when I do the hook, I'll be able to flip them up that way. So I went ahead and separated them by size, and then after I made sure they all were facing the same way, I went ahead and I took the smallest of the cards and I laid it on top of all the cards that are this size, and I just kind of centered it. I measured in a 1.5 inches from the sides and just took my marker, put a little dot, grabbed my single hole punch and punched it. So I got my first card hole punched. That is also my smallest card, and then I grabbed all the cards that are the same size as the first card, and I just made sure they all were even, centered together. Took my hole punch and punched the holes. So now that stack is done. What I decided to do is my card for that year is going to go on top. So the first card on top is always going to be our family Christmas card. So I went ahead and centered this onto our card and did the same thing, punched the hole. So now I have that stack. Then I'm taking the next stack, which is the next size up, and I'm just taking a card from this pile, centering it in the middle, marking it, and then I'm going to go ahead, hole punch. Boom, done. Now they're down. Then I'm going to go ahead and take the next size card and just take a card from that stack, center it, hole punch. Done. And you just keep going through. Now some of these cards are heavier card stock, so I did have to mark 1 or 2 cards just because of that, but a lot of them are photo cards, so it's easy. You know, here I have 3, so it was easy to take the card, center it, and just punch right through. So now they're all done. Now, you can alphabetize these cards if you want by last name. That might be easier when you're flicking through all the cards to kind of like see. That's totally up to you. For right now, I'm not doing that, but I can guarantee you at some point I will end up doing that. So now all my cards are hole punched, and they're all hole punched like at the top or on the side, as if this card goes this way. So on that side, so when I put my cover on it, I'm going to flip my cover up, and it'll be that way, or the card will be on the side facing me. Okay? Now, like I said earlier on, if you have the longer hole punch, you can go ahead and adjust it to fit. You can actually take all your cards and take the largest card, lay it down, and then stack them so they're all center and even. Punch it, and it's a lot faster. But like I said, I couldn't find my hole punch, so I just went ahead and did this. It really does not take much time at all. So now, this is another step you do not have to do. I'm just doing it. Let me turn on my, laminator. So I'm gonna wait for that to get ready. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a full sheet and laminate. I did cut these in half first because I want to laminate. You don't want to laminate the whole sheet because then when you cut it in half, you won't have anything holding that bottom one. So I'm going to go ahead and lay these out. One here like this. Okay. And it leaves just enough space in between, oops, I'm knocking them over, between the card and the top that I can laminate them, and it'll be sealed on all sides. Okay, and now as soon as my laminator gets heated up, we're going to go ahead and run it through the laminator. Alright my friends, so my laminator is now ready, it's all heated up. So I have my card cover in the paper, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in and get her started. I'm doing this a little backwards, so I think it's went in a little bit crooked on me, but it'll be fine. Now, I did decide, originally was not going to do this, but I did end up deciding to put a back cover on it as well. So I just took some of my cardstock, folded in half, cut it, put it in some paper, laminating paper, and I'm going to go ahead, oh no, we may have created a little bit of a problem here. I did this backwards and didn't pay a whole lot of attention, so my corner on this one may not have worked. I'll have to see when it comes out. Well, it worked. It's good enough. Alright, I don't know if you can see that. And now it's all laminated. So now I'm going to go ahead and laminate the back as well. Let's make sure I put this in properly. I just wanted you guys to see it coming out, so I was trying to do this backwards. What I do is just hold on to the top until it feeds in a little bit, so the paper at the top doesn't slide around. And once it grabs a hold of the edge of the paper, then I'll let it go. In the meantime, let me grab my scissors here. I'm going to go ahead and cut this right down the middle. Try to be very careful that I don't cut onto the other one. And there you have that. What I like to do is just kind of trim the edges a little bit because they kind of get pointy, and I've stabbed myself with them before, so I just like to trim it down. Cut those corners a little bit, just round them off a little bit. There we go. So I went ahead and trimmed the edges. So let me pull this out. I'll go ahead and do the same thing for this one. Cut right down the middle. And I'm going to go ahead and just trim this up just a little bit. Get those edges a little rounded so they do not stab you when you're picking it up. Okay. Go ahead and put my laminating machine to the side. Now that I have my cover and my back, I'm going to go ahead and take my picture, and I'm going to center the picture right on these. You can just eyeball it. And I'm going to go ahead and punch a hole. You can just mark it, punch a hole however you want. I think it might be a little bit too, sorry, I was getting a pen. This is a little bit too thick to do 2 of them. So, just going to go ahead and do 1 at a time. I'm going to go ahead and mark it up. Cover and the back, again, just mark it up. These being laminated, they are a little bit thicker than the pictures. So, all right, so now I'm just going to go ahead and take my rings here, open them up. And like I said, I think these will work. But I think the O-rings will work a little bit better. But because I had a huge bag of these, I did not want to waste them. So this has the hook in the back. So what I'm going to do is put my cover on first. So this way the hook is always in the back. So I have it's the back with the little things, and then when you turn it around, the little hooks are in the back. So I'm going to start with our picture, which is going to be the first one, and just add it on. Okay. It might be a little bit easier to start with just this side here like that, and I'm going to go ahead and start hooking my cards on here like that. Sorry, I just have my cards off on this side just for privacy reasons with friends and family. Continue to hook. 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 There we go. So that side is done. So I'm going to go, oh, no it's not. Forgot my back. Now it's done. So now I'm going to go ahead and hook that. And now I'm going to go ahead and take this ring. I'm going to go ahead and hook all my pictures right here on that. Back side. And of course you can adjust this to the amount of cards that you get. So here we go. So here is my first little book. Isn't that adorable? And then you can just flick right on through, and then you just look at each one. Now I have this little basket here. My sister actually gave this to me. She really liked it, but she didn't have any use for it, and she knew this was kind of my style and asked if I had any use for it, and I thought it would be a great thing to have. So what I'm going to do is, going forward, is I'm going to go ahead and make up all these cards over the next couple weeks, because I think it's going to take me some time figuring out the years. for those I didn't separate, and then I'm going to put them in the basket. Now I know that some of you are probably watching this video and you're thinking, that woman is crazy. I just love things like this, and I know there's people out there that do as well, but for those of you seriously that this is time consuming, obviously, and it may take up a little bit more space than what you have, but for those of you that still do want to keep these cards, there are other ideas, honestly. Again, you can take a Ziploc bag like I did and just label it the year, put the cards in the bag, and just store it in a drawer and put it away. You can also purchase an expandable file folder, you know, those brown craft ones that have all the slots in it. You could purchase something like that, put the year on it, put the picture cards in there. And over the time, you might go through them and then say, you know, I haven't talked to this friend in X amount of years, or I don't even know who this is anymore. And you may end up just going ahead and throwing out a couple of those pictures, which would also help with space in the folder. Also, I have a box, it's about this big, and it has dividers in it, and I have greeting cards in there, birthdays and weddings and showers and things like that. You could also purchase something like that. I'll try to find some good storage ideas maybe on Amazon, and I'll link it down in the description box on the video. You could use something like that and just put the photos in there. Easily store that box away, no problem. Or you might just want to save last year's pictures, or the last 2 or 3 years of pictures, and do something like this. And that way, you know, and then just say, oh, I just want to keep 5 years worth, and then just toss. I don't know. But there's so many different options. And the last option, which again would be very time consuming, but I also think it would be kind of cool, and I thought about doing this as well. You could actually create a file folder on your computer called holiday photo greeting cards, and you could, in that folder, just make additional folders, subfolders, and you know, for each year, 2020, 2019, 18, and you could scan the cards in there. Or you could create a folder underneath of the you know, the holiday greeting cards, and it could have each family member that you saved for, and then put all their cards, scan their cards in there. So when you open up, for instance, you know, I could have like my family, Brown. Every year my cards that I purchase, I could scan them, put it in there, and then you could see every one of them right there for just that family. Or you could, again, just do it by the year, whichever you prefer. But that's a good way if it's something that you really have a difficult time letting go of. If it's got a lot of memories, you know, some loved ones in those photos may have passed, and you really would like to hold on to it, but you just don't have a place to store it. Digital photo is a wonderful way to store those items. Like I said, you just have to scan them or take a picture with your camera and upload it to your computer. And just like I said, but you want to make sure you create a file folder for those greeting cards, and then some subfolders to make sure you have it organized, because you don't want to scan it down on your computer and then it just be, you know, hundreds of pictures out there. You want to make sure that you do at least do an organization within your computer as well. But these are just some ideas that I hope that might be helpful to you. Like I said, I just hate tossing these, and I do love looking back at them. So I hope that this was very helpful and it inspired you, or gave you at least some ideas of what to do with your cards as well. If you have any other ideas, please go ahead and share them in the comments section. And if you have any questions, of course, always please ask. I'm willing, you know, to answer any questions that you have. So I really appreciate you joining me today, and I will see you next time. Oh, and please don't forget, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and hit the little bell, because that will notify you every time I have a new video coming out. and I have a couple little giveaways that I'm going to be doing soon, so you're not going to want to miss the next couple videos that'll be coming out. So in the meantime, friends, I hope you have a wonderful new year, and I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye, friends.